Welcome back. We're here with Francis, the co-founder of Why Not You Media and Snack Time TV. Francis, it's been 5 years since we met on TikTok. It's an honor to have you on the podcast, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, listen, like you just said, 5 years. We've connected 5 years ago, I think originally from TikTok,
Yes.
and, then obviously moved over to Instagram. But to be able to now talk face to face and hop on here and just have a great conversation and add value to those who listen and watch is what it's all about, man. So I really appreciate you asking me to be on.
Oh, dude, of course. This actually leads into my first question perfectly of social media. There is always this debate of is social media actually a good thing or is it a negative thing because we see all of the negativity on there? Do you think the good of social media outweighs the bad?
It's a great question, and it's honestly something that is spoken about a lot in our circle, right? When we talk to clients, when I have conversations with family and friends, and I think it's the lens in which you look at social media, right? Like we can definitely talk about the negatives, but then you can obviously bring up the positives, and I don't know if one or the other outweighs each other. I think there is like this type of weird balance that goes on, but it all really comes down to the individual that you're talking about and how they view social media, right? Social media today, if let's just talk about a positive real quick. I'm not going to go into all of them, but I'll just use one as an example. You have access to information from people that you never would have had access to without it. Meaning that there are doctors, lawyers, like professionals that are top in their space who are now able to come on social media, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook, whatever it may be, and give you valuable information that you're not learning in school, that you're not learning in college or in high school. And then obviously you have the negative side, right? There is now freedom of speech, and to an extent, right, obviously everyone gets freedom of speech a little bit, they have, there's a misconception about it. You can't go on there and just start saying absolutely crazy things, but you're able to now you find the negative where people discourage you, badmouth you, the things get posted, right? Just the bullying that can occur, right? The virtual or digital bullying that can occur, but it just all comes down to how you view social media. If you see it in a positive light, you're going to utilize it correctly. If you see it as negative and feed into that negative energy, you're going to see social media as a negative, right? But I think overall, I'll never forget what like Ashton Kutcher said a long time ago on a late night show, that he was talking about Steve Jobs, but just if you think about the phone, like the iPhone itself, it's connected people more than ever
Yeah.
before when it first came out. But then you add social media to that and just the ability to connect with people from all over the world, I believe is super positive and very powerful. But just to kind of reiterate, it's the lens in which you look at social media.
Yeah. And I think like everything in society, all of these tools is just a reflection of humanity. So if you're a great person and you have good perspective, you're going to put out good stuff into the world. If you're not a good person and you have more of a negative outlook, you're going to, always carry this negativity with you. So I think it is just a mirror when it comes to like all of these type of things. If it's social media, if it's the newspaper, there will kind of always be like this mirror back and forth between humanity of like they'll always be good, they'll always be like be bad, and kind of finding your kind of tribe on that.
Yeah, and absolutely, I 100% agree. And I also think, unfortunately, negativity sells. So you see a lot of negative headlines, like you read the newspaper, you read articles on, online magazines or, online articles, like negativity always sells. It doesn't matter if it's political or sports oriented or business. People draw people in with negative because they're like, it creates that curiosity. But like you said, it is a reflection of really who you are,
Yeah.
depending on what you're watching and listening to.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also work with a lot of small businesses, and we find that they are not even using social media at all. So can you kind of break down what does creating content for your business actually mean?
Yeah, it's a great question. Listen, I have the privilege of talking to a lot of small business owners as well. And being one myself, there are a lot of hats that you're wearing. And, when you own a restaurant, for example, right, let's just use that as for this conversation, you have so much going on, right? Like you have to deal with employees, payroll, ingredients, front of house, back of house, just there's so much that goes on. So now all of a sudden you're doing all these things and social media and the marketing gets put on the back burner.
Yeah.
But then you're asking, why aren't people coming to my establishment, right? So what does content mean? It has to be one of the hats that you're wearing unless you're able to actually delegate that to someone that knows what they're doing, right? So you either have time or money. And when I say delegate to someone that knows what they're doing, the problem that we always see, and you probably see this as well talking to small businesses, is that they start and they delegate it to like their 18-year-old niece or nephew who they think should know what they're doing because, oh, that's your world, you know social media, but they know it as a consumer. They're not really creating content that moves the needle. So if you're a business owner, a small business owner, part of your job today is you need to do your 100 hours, right? And what I mean by that is that you need to actually take the time out to study and learn what social media actually means, right? There's a social aspect and a media aspect, but you need to dive in and find out, okay, how do these platforms work? What is content, right? It's not just posting a photo. Like, what are your competitors? What are people in your industry doing? It doesn't matter if you're located in New York. You can find what a business in California is doing from a content aspect and kind of take pieces of it and utilize it for your marketing. And then it's really the next side is taking the time out to do it, right? Like if you are a restaurant owner, just to stay on that topic, your job is you need to showcase your food, right? You need to continuously showcase your dishes, your drinks, and your desserts. So your menu is your content. Now you can add other aspects. You start getting in front of camera to show, to humanize the brand, to put your face in front of it. I think though, like just saying that stuff, if you're a small business, that sounds scary, right?
Yeah.
But decisions are made. Like I'm picking up my phone, like this is where people are watching, like they're making decisions every day based off what they watch on social media. So you have to be loud. And to be loud, you have to do it a lot. You have to start with volume. And eventually, once you start figuring out what works for you, you double down on it and go all in on it, especially if it's moving the needle.
Yeah. Yeah, I think those are great tips, and like you mentioned, it is scary, especially for the 40, 50, 60-year-old people where they never grew up in a world like this, where this is something that they don't even have experience consuming. So they're like, where do I even begin? What what do I even make? I'm nervous. I'm scared to get on camera. So I think there's like all these emotions that kind of go into creating content, especially for the older generation who just want to run a business. And one of the big things you also talk about is brand building. How do you think AI is going to play a role in building a brand in the future?
Wow, great question. And this is what we talk about. Honestly, I have this AI conversation every single day at this point. So I think AI, what it's going to do when you use it correctly, is going to help expedite certain things that took longer in the beginning, right? So from developing content ideas to distribution of the content, the one thing though is that yes, can AI create content for you? Absolutely. But I think a part of being human is that human connection. And I don't think people are going to want to lose that. So they're still going to want to see people on camera. Like they're going to want to see you or me. They're not going to want to see an AI version. Even if it looks exactly like us, people are pretty smart to be able to figure out what is AI and what isn't. And I think these platforms are going to start making you, because I know YouTube is doing it now. They're going to make you market that it's an AI created piece of content so
Yeah.
that you're actually telling the end user, like, hey, this is not real. This is not a real person. This is AI generated. But I think it's going to help enhance what people are doing. And speed is so important to brand building. So I think it's going to help speed up the process for people, especially on the content creation ideation side and just the distribution side. That's really where I think this stuff can be powerful, because instead of now you having, like, yes, there are platforms that you can schedule, but I think now with AI, it's going to be able to just distribute it across channels, create different copy for you, feed you back data. Like, hey, like we posted this video on LinkedIn with this copy, but then we found similar posts and similar copy from others in your industry, and it worked 4 times better the way that they did it. So now we want to implement that into your strategy, and you're going to see that across different platforms. So I think it's just from a data standpoint, it's going to help tremendously. And when you're building a brand, that is important. You need to find out what's working as fast as possible, because no one wants to wait 5 years and then it finally works.
Yeah.
That 5 years might become 6 months at some point. So I think that's a large part of it.
Yeah, and I see, on the other side of just content creation evolving in general, we saw what TikTok and Reels are doing for the content creation game. You're good? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we like looked at TikTok, we looked at Reels, and we saw how that helped evolve just the industry in general. Where do you see content creation, like the actual distribution of it, evolving in the next 5-10 years?
So I think they're always going to have the conversation of new platforms arising, right? I think that you're always going to see, new apps coming to the I kind of to the consumer base, right? To customers, to the environment. So I think that you're always going to have to stay on top of that, right? But to answer your question in regards to distribution across these platforms, I think short form is going to remain where it is. I don't see us kind of going back to like this world of Vine where it's 6 second clips. I still think you're going to see that, 20 to 90 second range being powerful. But then there's always the long form play. I think that, there's a conversation, there's this topic in marketing where short form creates followers, long form creates fans. And I think long form content is going to become even more important than ever before for all brands and all businesses. And whether that's creating a vlog, a podcast, or an info type piece of content, like for example, if you're a lawyer, breaking down maybe different cases that are going on or different events that are going on, but in a long form version. So I see distribution of long form becoming more important. I think short form will always be a foundation for people just starting out. Um, but I think now also with it becoming more of an interest based platforms, right? Because it's the TikTokification of social media where like now the content is delivered to you. I think that, speed, like I've brought up, that's going to be like kind of a common denominator here, is that your speed is going to have to enhance more and more and more, where just posting once a week is just not going to work. You're going to have to be posting maybe potentially two, three, four. You got brands posting 5 times a day, right? And there's a reason for it because it's just so loud out there. So I think the speed of distribution is only going to get faster. Um, and I don't see it slowing down. I don't see it slowing down.
Yeah, yeah, great. Um, and with both of your ventures with Why Not You Media and Snack Time, you are backed by some amazing business partners that
Yep.
support your journey and what you're doing. When those uncomfortable conversations arise that you have to present to them, how do you go about handling something like that?
Yeah, it's a great question, right? Partnerships, I think, are they can be very interesting because when you have a business partner, like, listen, I've been business partners now with Tony and Michael going on 7 years, and Nikki will be officially 1 year. We've been doing Snack Time for two, but the business we LLC'd it. This is our first year actually as a business. Um, so when you have those uncomfortable conversations, it's all about how you present it, right? It's coming to them with, you know, proof of concept, especially if it's something that has been done before, like actually coming to them and be like, hey, look, I've seen another business in our space doing X. This is how they've implemented it. This is how they've now integrated it for their clients and so on and so forth. So it always comes down to presentation. It always comes down to tonality. It always comes down to delivering with respect, right? It's just partnerships can be tough because you're dealing with different personalities. And the best thing, though, is to just present everything, with logic. Don't be emotional, right? Because as soon as you become emotional, like, listen, guys will be guys. Like my business partners are all guys. Like you're like at the end of the day, people don't take, they don't take shit. And, they're going to come back at you. And then all of a sudden it turns into an argument. So you just want to present things lighthearted with respect. This is what I'm thinking. And then open up the dialogue. Never say, hey, this is what we're doing. It's, hey, this is what I've been thinking about. And here's my information to back it. What do you guys think? And open up that conversation so that you guys can all bounce off each other. And I just had this actually happen recently. I'll give you a quick example. Tony and I were having a cigar at our country club that our company is a member at, and we had one of our clients, and we're sitting there, we're talking, and I presented an idea, and it opened up the dialogue. But I used examples, proof of concept that Tony is now living himself with what he's doing with his personal brand, but what we've seen other people doing. So now it opened up that conversation, and it was like, you know what? From that conversation, we were able to create a new product for a client that, a potential client that Tony was pitching the next day. And it worked out. So it's just how you present things. You can't come in guns blazing. You can't do it.
Yeah.
Listen, when I was 24 years old, maybe different story, right? But, I'm 31 years old now, and my approach is a lot calmer. Hey guys, this is what I'm thinking. Here's the information. What do you think? Let's talk about it. So
Yeah.
that's the best way to handle partnerships. Don't be aggressive, be respectful, and just understand you want to have open dialogue. That's, I guess, the key term there. Open dialogue. Don't shut it, open it.
And when you do have a new idea or even a concern when it comes to the business, how soon or how quick do you present that new idea or concern to your partners?
So you have to, it's a great question. And when you see something like I guess a problem or a concern, you want to nip it in the butt as quickly as possible, right? Hey guys,
Yeah.
like this is what I'm seeing, this is what's occurring, because you need quick feedback loops, right? And if you're able to get in front of that problem immediately and present it, at least you can find that solution as quick as possible. You don't want to wait until it happens 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times and then be like, okay, we have to fix this. It's after really like the first time, at least take a look at it, right? And say, okay, there's a little bit of a situation here. Let's keep our eyes on this. Maybe it's not a large fire right now. It's small. We can let it burn for a little bit because we have bigger fires we have to put out. So that's how you want to go about it, right? It's just like, okay, bring it up, mention it. Maybe someone has a solution right there and then. They may be like, hey, I know how to fix this. Let me do XYZ, and boom, never have the problem again. We've had that happen multiple times, where it's just we see it, we fix it, and it's same day it's fixed. And then the other side of it is that when you see a way to enhance something, right? That's what you were mentioning, like when you see something to like
Yeah, yeah,
make
yep.
better, it's the same thing, right? It's and the biggest thing that you're going to learn though is that those enhancements that you want to make are also feedback that you're getting from clients, right? So when you're delivering a service or you're delivering a product, you need to listen to the end consumer, right? Because we do a lot of consulting. So when we're in those consulting sessions and they start bringing up certain things as the consumer, as the client, like what do they see, what maybe can flow better, we take that in and it's like, okay, now we can have that conversation. And we also are always, you have to always do your due diligence. And what I mean by that is like, go through your own system, go through your own onboarding process, right? Like if you have to onboard a client, go through it with the team, like go through it with your partners. Like, okay, I meet with you, I close you. What's the next step, the next step, the next step, the next step? Like actually create a flow chart. So now you're like, oh, we have a bump in the road here. Okay, this is a constraint. This is an issue. And now you can actually fix, where there's maybe like, you're building a house and there's maybe a crack in foundation. You know how to fix it and fill it correctly rather than just trying to put duct tape. Duct tape doesn't work
Yeah.
like that. So I think it's just moving with speed, right? Getting to the solution as fast as fast as possible, but also being decisive. My man, you
Yeah.
have to be decisive. If you hesitate on decisions, and you've probably seen this, if you hesitate, that decision never gets made. And now all of a sudden it's like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And it's a month later, and we never fix the problem. It's be decisive. As soon as you find the problem, as soon as you find the solution, that's it. That's it. Like,
Yeah.
make the decision.
I agree. I think moving with speed is crucial. And having a strong, supportive woman behind you is very important for your success. How has
Yes.
your girlfriend, Marlene, not only pushed you to be a better businessman, but to be a better human?
Eh, Listen, I'm big on giving people their flowers while they're still alive. And I think we wait too long until people pass to give them their flowers. And, my girlfriend Marlene deserves all the kudos in the world. Um, it's funny, before we got on on this podcast, we were talking about the importance of having breakfast together and dinner together. And, growing up, it was just me and my mom. And, we would have breakfast together sometimes, but she was a teacher, so she was up early. I was sometimes just like crawling out of bed, having a bowl of cereal and going. But, we would try to have those dinners together. But I played sports. I was a four-sport athlete, so we were always in and out, in and out. So sometimes eating on the go. But now, Marlene and I are going on 5 years of being together, and she really, really um, hones in on the importance of those meals together. So it doesn't seem like a big deal, but now it's so important to me to have that morning conversation with her, having that nighttime conversation with her. So that alone, that small little thing has made me feel like a better person. Just to feel just more connected to her, family oriented. I don't have the biggest family in the world, so it's and some of them live in Rhode Island. Everyone's all over the place and living their own lives. So now it's like I feel more like my home's become, more family oriented, even though it's just her and I. Family is such an important part of it, but also she supports the craziness, man. Like I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and I said, I'm basically I'm full blown entrepreneurial delusional,
Yeah.
and like there's no coming back. And she is so supportive of that. She just says, "Hey, you have an idea, go for it. Like, do not wait on it, execute on it, and just see what happens." And she's making some decisions in her life that are going to be really beneficial for us. And there's not too many women out there. I don't even say women. There's not too many people out there that are willing to, sacrifice, certain things in their own lives for the benefit of the whole. And
Yeah.
she's willing to do that. And that's something that, like, one day I'll repay, uh, you know, big time. Um, but you have to have, like, what's the saying? It's behind every great man is a greater woman, right? And
Yeah.
and I listen, I 100% believe that, because those conversations that you're having back at home, the ones that no one sees, are the most important. Because there are days, listen, man, like, we all feel it. There's days where you want to quit. You're like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, what am I doing? Like, this is discouraging and this sucks. And like you just constant questioning of what you're doing. And then you have
Yeah.
someone that's able to say, keep going. Don't stop. You've been in it this long. Eventually, something is going to hit and your life is going to change. Our life is going to change. So I think that anyone that's out there that listens to this and you are in this kind of, like, I guess, purgatory, this middle ground where, like, you're like, oh, like, I'm just so focused on work, but like, it's so hard because I don't have support. The energy you put out is the energy you get back, and just make sure that you actually put yourself in company with an individual that gets what you're trying to accomplish. Like, they have to really understand it, because when you're trying to do something significant with your life, it takes a special person to support you.
That's beautiful. It seems like you guys have found a way to ground yourself of like, okay, we're going to have, because I love the aspect of we're going to have breakfast, we're going to have dinner. And that's your way to say, hey, let's put all the business stuff aside. We're going to ground ourselves every single day and say, it's just the two of us. What can we work on? What can we do better? And you guys just set that time aside to be like, we are going to work on ourselves because, as you know, owning a business, if you don't put that on the schedule and you don't make that a routine, it's going to get brushed under the rug. You're going to take phone calls, you're going to take meetings, you're going to be out at an event, and that's never going to happen. So I really love how you guys set that up as like, we're going to ground ourselves every single day, no matter what's happening, to make ourselves a priority.
Yeah, and that's something that she really emphasized. That was the word I was looking for before. That's something that she really emphasized in the beginning of our relationship. And I'm not gonna lie, like I'm very transparent. Like I kind of brushed it off. I was like, like I didn't, like I don't need that, like whatever. But now it's really important, that moment together. Like we're really big coffee people, right? Like we love coffee. And so like for us sometimes it's like on a Sunday, um, we'll just go and sit at a new coffee shop and just have a cup of coffee and just sit and talk, and it's become so important, and it's really made me a better person because she sees the world a lot differently than I do. And like listen, my mother was Russian, my dad is Italian, and you put the two together and you get like the most stubborn person on the planet. And there are times where I am extremely stubborn. I think that I have all the answers, but it's not the truth at all. I don't. I don't have it all figured out. I never will. I don't think anyone ever has it figured out. Um, but she gives me different perspectives and she challenges me, and that's so important. I can't even, like, if there is something that I don't care if no one gets anything out of this but this sentence, I'll be happy. Find someone that is going to challenge you. And I don't mean challenge you in the sense of cause argument. I meant challenge the way you see the world, challenge the way that you think and view things, and just perspective. It doesn't mean they're going to change it, but it means that they're going to at least try to help you open your mind to other things that maybe you never opened your mind to before. And now it creates this intellectual conversation, and you both become better people, smarter people, logical thinkers, deeper thinkers. So that is so important, man. Find someone that can challenge you in a positive way, not a negative way, positive way.
Beautiful. And your grandmother was a huge influence on your life when you were younger, and she ended up passing away.
Yep.
Looking back, what stands out as the most impactful thing she did for your life?
Well, I've in the recent years I've gone through a good amount of deaths. Unfortunately, my nana passed, my grandmother passed, my mom passed, and my grandfather passed. So I had four deaths in 8 years. So if you don't mind, I can kind of talk about each of them because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yes,
So
please.
so my nana was the first to pass. She died in 2016, but actually right when I graduated college. She did not get to see me walk. I actually came home with my diploma and that, and showed it to her. But she, the one that it's so cliche. It's so cliche, but for some reason, you know how there's certain people in your life that when they can say the most cliche thing in the world, but it means the most to you. She would always say to me, hard work pays off. Like she was this small little, Russian woman who was a biology teacher or biology professor. She was brilliant. Her IQ was off the charts, but she always used to say to me, Francis, hard work pays off. And she always saw greatness in me, and that stuck with me. Just every time I feel like I'm not like doing enough, it's just like I hear her like voice, like hard work will pay off, friend. Hard work will pay off. And then you fast forward to my grandmother, my dad's mom, right? She was a small little Italian woman, but she was the definition of love. Like loved her family. Like what Italian grandmother isn't, right? Um, but she just taught me the importance of loving your family, being there for your family. And she would, she didn't have like these sayings of like, she wasn't a woman of sayings of encouragement, but she was just a woman of action. And those actions of love and support and helping in any way that she could, just I'll never ever forget. I'll never forget just the love that she showed. Just like I spent so much of my childhood at her house, so it's like so many of my memories are just embedded in her different homes that she lived in over the years, from Yonkers to then eventually living in Yorktown. And then, my mom. Oh man, my mom was probably the most impactful person I've like ever been around. It was me and her my entire life. And she named our company. She named Why Not You. She came up with the name, and when we were thinking of a name, I just blurted it out one day to Tony and Michael. I was like, "Why not you?" And they were like, "Yo, we love that," because my mom always used to say to me, "Why not you? Why can't you become the next big thing?" And it's like, it sounds crazy, but it is the truth. It's the God honest truth. Like, everyone does have the ability to become something great and significant. And that stuck with me. Like, every day I put on, a shirt or a polo, like, I feel as though I'm putting on a uniform for her. That's how I
Love
feel. Um, so that's huge. And then my grandfather passed. He was 91 years old. God bless. Um, he taught me so much. He taught me about respect. He taught me about, hey, if your wife or your grandmother puts food in front of you, you eat the whole plate, right? You eat everything on the plate. But one thing, for some reason, that just has stuck with me as I've gotten older is he always used to say to me, Fran, nice and easy. And I never, and like, listen, as a kid, you're like, because he taught me how to build birdhouses, how to saw, how to measure, how to use a screwdriver. Like, he was very hands on, blue collar guy, not a lot of education, but worked hard. But every time we would be like screwing something in or banging a nail with a hammer, he'd be like, Fran, nice and easy. And I've realized that that lesson has transcended and now is part of my everyday life. Just when I talk to people, nice and easy, Fran. If I'm driving my car, nice and easy, Fran. And it's just kind of lived on. And it's just something that just kind of, like I said, plays in the back of my head when I'm getting frustrated, or things aren't going the way I want, or I'm doing an edit and I can't figure out this part that I want edited the way I envision it. I just hear him, nice and easy, Fran. And it always works out. So those four people, man, like, I'm not wearing it right now, but I wear a chain every day that has my grandmother's ring, a pendant my nana gave me, um, my grandfather's ring, and my mom's engagement ring
Wow.
to my stepdad, that I wear every single day because it makes me feel like they're there with me.
I just want to say first off, thank you for sharing that. That was beautiful. And I was getting goosebumps while you were explaining all that. And I think for me, when you were saying nice and easy, that really hit home with me,
Yeah,
because it's like, calm down, take your time, and things aren't as serious as they have to be. And as you know, building the birdhouse, when you're in that flow state, things just work out. It's
yeah.
a lot better than you trying to rush things. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. That was amazing.
No, absolutely, man. I when I come on podcasts, I try to be as open and transparent as possible. I try to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
We're all human beings. We're all going through stuff. So if that can connect with somebody, that's lost somebody, just know that, like, if you really think about that person and the conversations that you've had and the things that they did, like, a piece of them lives in you, and believe it or not, but you have to just be open to it, because it's there.
I have two more questions for you.
Yeah.
15 years ago, you said this on Facebook.
Oh boy, I'm scared.
When life hands you lemons, make orange juice and leave the world wondering, how the fuck did he do that? At such a young age, where does this desire to push toward your full potential come from?
Wow, man. That, I have to find that. If you have a screenshot of that, please
Yeah.
send that to me.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm gonna be 15 years ago. I was 16. Oh man, I was a little nut at 16. But I don't know if I heard it from a song, but for some reason, obviously, like, I wrote it. But I guess, to me, what that means is that life gives you lemons, make orange juice, and leave them wondering, how the fuck did you do this? Honestly, what it tells me is just be fucking different. Just be different. And if everyone's drinking lemonade but you want orange juice, it's okay. It's okay to stand out of the crowd, like, And I think that's really what if we really want to dive deep into
Yes.
that little status, that's what it meant. Like that's what it meant because I'll never forget this. It's funny because when I was 15, actually, like I've told the story on podcast before, but where we lived in Mamaroneck and in Westchester County. My mom and I lived in a in a multi-family that we rented out one of the apartments, and it was a 2 bedroom. And I'll never forget. We're driving. We had to drive up this hill, and then like get to a stoplight, and then kind of make one of those like kind of like hard, sharp lefts, and then we'd go up to our house. So we're going up the hill, and this all ties into the quote. We're going up the hill, and I just look at my mom because I'm looking out the window. I'm looking at the people walking from the train, and I'm watching everyone. I'm very observant. And I say to my mom, I can't be like everybody else. And she's like, she's a little concerned. She's like, what do you mean? Like, I'm like, I can't do it. I was like, do any of these people look happy, Mom? And she's like, probably not. They're probably dealing with things that we can't see. And I said, I need to be different. And I know I'm meant to be different. And I don't know what that difference is. I don't know what that means, but like, I can't live being like everybody else. I have to do something different. I have to be different. I even said, I'd rather be dead than miserable. And
Yes.
she said to me, I don't remember her exact reply to me, but it was something along the lines of like support. And, then, you read that status to me, it's like, damn, like I saw something probably in myself that subconsciously, um, that I was trying to put out to the world, but was so scared to put that out. And now being, 31 and being as much as I am on the internet, from Wine at You Media and Snack Time, um, I'm finally living out what I meant in that status. I'm living it out and I'm doing the damn thing. It took me, 15 years to do it, but yeah, hey, listen, better late than never.
This is a bonus question off of that answer.
Yep.
Do you think everyone has that feeling inside them?
That's a great question, man. I think we all have a pull towards something. And what I mean by that is there are people right now, while you and I are having this conversation, that are sitting in a cubicle at a large financial firm that want to be an artist, that want to be a musician, that want to be a fashion designer, I don't know, whatever it is, okay? They want to be a skateboarder. I have no idea. They want to be a barber, but they are scared, and fear cripples people. And they might not admit that it does, but it does. And I'm not saying, listen, go quit your high paying job, but those same people won't even go and do that side hustle. They won't go and cut hair for their friends for free to better their skill as a barber because they are fearful of what their family and friends will think of them because they have this great job, benefits, the whole nine, but their heart isn't there. And I think everyone has something, man. I really do. I really do. I think if you and I went around just, New York City alone and asked every single person, what is your true passion and what it is what you really want to do with your life, most people would probably say something completely different than what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I just think that it's, and that's the positive of social media. You have the ability to create around whatever it is that you love and find your tribe and find your people. Listen, you don't need millions of followers to make money on social media. If you love to knit, there's a community for you. There's
Yeah.
people out there that will buy your knitting. So I think we all do have that pull, man. I just think some people open their eyes to it and other people just shut it out and just live the status quo, and they grow up with regret and resentment. Um, and that's scary. That's scary. Um, but for the people out there that are doing the damn thing, kudos. Keep doing it. Keep pushing. Live the life that you want. Listen, if making less money but traveling the world is what makes you happy, fuck man, do it
Yeah.
all day. Do it all day. That happiness is an internal thing. It's not external. Don't look for the watches, the cars, the clothes for happiness. It's about what you are doing in here and what makes your lungs fill up every morning and your heartbeat and your thoughts, just the dopamine just click every time you go to work.
What is one fear that you're currently striving to overcome right now?
Um, One of my fears. So I've always my biggest fear in life is amounting to nothing. That is my biggest fear, and I guess that this is an old Grant Cardone quote. He said that he always has lived with a small voice of doubt in the back of his mind because that's what pushes him to continue on his journey, and I resonate with that. Um, and that's kind of what keeps me going is that I fear amounting to nothing. And listen, it doesn't mean becoming like the next most famous human being in the world, but it's about being significant to the people in my life, and helping them in any way that I can. Like I've always dreamed of building a platform big enough that like if my friends need anything and my family needs anything, like I can help them. Like I can be a person that can actually genuinely help them. Um, and then another thing is that, at the end of the day, I talk on camera every day, but it's a fear of mine. It's scary. It is scary. And so right now I'm doing, you might have seen it. I'm doing 100-day challenge on TikTok where I'm posting a talking video every single day, just talking about something that I want to talk about. But the reason
Is
for it, go ahead.
is that the higher up uh wellness challenge?
So I didn't even know that was his challenge.
Okay.
I've seen other people doing it. I just was like, you know what? I saw someone pop up on my explore page, like my for you page, and it was like 5/100, and they're like, and then the caption is like 100 days of doing a talking video,
Yeah.
and I was like, shit, I'm gonna do that because like
Yeah.
I just want to become more natural on camera. I don't want to feel manufactured. I don't want to feel like anything's fabricated. I want to just put the phone down and just how we're talking right now, I just want to be able to talk.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do. As much as I talk on camera and I've been doing it for 6 years, it's difficult. Um, I want people to feel like they're on a FaceTime with me. That's my end result. I want people to feel like it's just me and them and their phone, and I'm talking directly to them. And that's a skill that only a few people that we watch have. And higher up wellness is definitely one of them. But the big one that has that down to a science is Leo Skepi. And if you can, like, I know he has this charisma, but man, his ability to make you feel like he's talking to you one on one, I don't know if he purposely does it or he stepped in shit, but it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And the comments and what people write is everything that you need to see. They say it. I love FaceTime with Leo.
Wow.
So and listen, he's got 10.5 million followers to speak for it.
That's crazy. I
Mm-hmm.
have we could sit here and talk for the
Oh,
next
yeah.
3 hours. I have one more question for you.
Absolutely.
If you could have dinner with two people,
Okay.
one person from the past and one person from the present, who would it be and why?
Man. So I've been asked this before. So I'll start with present. Okay. Present day, I would. It's a toss up between two. It's a toss up between three people. But if I had to right now, I would love to sit down and get dinner with Andy Frisella. It was between him, Hermosi, and Gary Vee. But I think Andy, I would absolutely love to sit with him because something he said, and I know they all have. I'm just giving context of why. I just
Yeah.
something that something that I like to do so people listening understand why I made the decision. Um, is He said something in his podcasts where for the first I think it was like 11 years of his business, he only made $53,000
Wow.
like income. So if you do the math, it's only about $5,000 a year. And Gary had his struggles, Hermosi had his struggles, but something about when Andy says that, where he's like he was only making $5,000 a year, but this man went on to build a business that's doing hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. Just and he doesn't like and he talks like just a normal everyday person. There's no like his vocabulary isn't off the charts. Like he just seems like a rugged dude, and it'd be really cool to sit down and have like a steak with that guy. And then from the past, um, my grandfather would love to hear this. Winston Churchill. The reason why is because the man had to navigate probably the most one of the most difficult times in history ever for a country, and he was able to successfully do it. But I would just love to be able to pick his brain on his decision making, how quickly he made decisions, what he was looking at, what he foresaw. Because, like, when you're dealing with people of that high intelligence, their ability to take very complicated and dumb it down to make decisions is what is so fascinating to me. And to be able to do it during a time of a world war, and the the world was on the brink of destruction, and he was able to make the decisions they did under more pressure than either you and I will ever feel in our entire lives. um I think speaks volumes. So those would be the two people, man.
Love it. Well, Francis, those are the questions I have for you. How can people find you, and what is one thing you want to leave people with?
So you can find me at Francis Volpe on every single platform. FrancisVolpe. If you're a Yankee fan, I have the same last name as Volpe, the shortstop. Not related. From that I know. But what do I want to leave people with, man? I feel like every time I'm on a podcast, it changes a little bit. But to me today, I want to leave people with someone out there needs you to keep going. And what I mean by that is there is someone that will never ever tell you, but you are their biggest inspiration. They watch your content, they watch your stories, they see what you write on, your Facebook or whatever it is, and you are motivating them and you are pushing them to continue to strive after what it is that they want to accomplish in their life. And they will never, ever tell you. But there is somebody out there that looks up to you. And it could be your closest friend, it could be your child, it could be your parents. You don't know. They will never tell you, but you are the person when they feel down, when they don't want to do it anymore and they want to quit, they pick up their phone, they click your name, and they watch your video. And for whatever reason, you're their inspiration. So just that's what I want to leave people with. Someone out there needs you.
It's amazing, and people are always watching.
Yes,
They're
they are, man.
Even if they're not interacting, especially if they're not interacting, they're watching you. Well, Francis, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. If you could stay in the room for like 2-3 minutes after, and
Yep.
then we can chat.
Yep.
Um, this is a great conversation. This is actually the longest podcast I've ever filmed out of the 157 episodes I've done. So
Wow.
thank you so much, man. It was an honor to finally meet you in person and not only dive into your business, but dive into your personal side of things. So thank you for sharing the things that you did with us, and you are inspiring, impacting people.
Thank you, man. I truly appreciate you inviting me on. I could, like you said, I could sit here for 3 hours and talk.
Yeah.
But that's what it's all about, man. We're doing our part to society. That's the way I look at it. Hopefully, someone gets something out of this, and it helps them tremendously.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Francis. Appreciate you.